Hello everyone, welcome to UI UX design class. Last time we dealt with introduction and we concluded with introduction quite honestly, and we said something like getting into sketching. So we are going to be starting off with introduction to sketching. And if it happens you have not watched the previous classes, I think there are certain stuff that were discussed that will precipitate to this level. So please do yourself good to review the previous classes so as for you not to miss out on basic informations before getting into this stage. So, sketching in this context of UI UX refers to the process of creating rough and drawn sketches to visually explore and communicate designs ideas for user interfaces and user experiences. You know, so it's an essential step in design process that allows designer to quickly iterate and explore various concepts before moving on to more more detailed digital design stages that you will see and appreciate. So sketching is typically done using pen and paper or digital tablets and stylus. you know the purpose of sketching is to quickly capture and communicate design ideas without getting caught up in details. So it helps designer focus on the overall layout, structure, and flow of a user interface or experience um, rather than the specific visual details. So sketching allows designer to do certain stuff. For example, it allows designer to generate ideas. It allows for ideation, quick idea generation that we have here. Sketching helps designer to generate a wide range of designs concepts and explore different possibilities. It encourages, say, creativity and free flowing thinking without the constraint of digital tools. Without going deeper than without having to go straight up to digital tools. You can just start off with doing rough sketching and handwritten and drawn sketching and stuff. So two another thing that sketching allows designers to do is to iterate rapidly. Sketches are quick to create and modify, because you are using your hands to draw and stuff. So it enables designer to iterate rapidly and refine their ideas, you know. So these flexibilities allows for exploration of multiple design options and encourages experimentation. So uh so that is that. Then another thing I can quickly think of is it allows designers to communicate and collaborate. You know, sketches serve as a kind of visual communication tool to share single ideas with team members, stakeholders, and clients. So they facilitate discussions and gather feedbacks early in the design process. Another thing I can relate to it is the identity usability issue. By sketching out different user flows and interactions, designer can identify potential usability issues or challenges in the early stages. So it helps in identifying design problems and making improvement before investing significant time and effort in digital detailed digital design. So while sketching, designers focus on capturing key elements such as layout, content, structure, navigations, interactions, and what have you. So designers may also use simple shapes, lines, and annotations to represent different UIs or different UI components and user actions. So uh, you agree with me that sketches are intentionally kept rough and low fidelity. It's not something that is appealing at the initial stage. So they are intentionally kept rough and low fidelity to encourage exploration and avoid attachment to specific uh, design details, because you're going to be making corrections. You're going to be, you know so many ideas will be coming and you're going to be making so many changes. So it is rough at the very start. So once the sketching phase is complete, designer now typically move on to wireframing and prototyping to further uh, refine and develop their design concept. I said I made mention of a term there. I said something like I remember I said something like interactions. Interactions in the context of UI UX refers to the ways user engage with user interface and how the interface responds to their what actions. So interactions play a very crucial role in creating an intuitive and seamless user experience by allowing users to navigate and manipulate and also interact with the elements and functionalities of a digital product. You know, there are some key. Let me give you some key aspect related to interactions in UI UX. We have the navigations. When you're talking about interactions, you think about the navigation, you think about the feedback, you think about the input and manipulations, you think about the transitions and animations, you think about the micro interactions and what have you. I think it is experience that I explain each and every one of the key aspects that is related to interactions in UI UX. Let me first of all talk about the navigations. Interactions are often used to facilitate navigation within a user interface. These include actions like clicking on menus, buttons, or links to move between different screens or sections of an application. You know, Clear and intuitive navigation enhances the user's ability to find information or perform tasks efficiently. Then, if you're talking about the feedback, interaction provides feedback to users, informing them about the outcome of their actions. Feedback can be visual, it can be auditory, or haptic, depending on the platform and device. For example, a button changing color or providing a suitable animation when clicked give a user a clear indication that their actions has been registered. Then the input and manipulation aspect that is related to key interactions in UI UX includes actions such as typing into text fields, selecting options from drop-down menus, dragging and dropping elements, resizing windows or images, and using gesture on touch-enabled devices. You see, these interactions allow users to interact with and control the content or functionalities of an interface. Then, if you're talking about the transitions and animations, interactions are often used to create smooth transitions and animations between different stages of screens. This can include sliding panels, fading effect, expanding and collapsing elements, uh, or any other visually appealing animation that enhances the user experience. Then, well-designed transitions and animations can make interface feel more responsive and engaging. Then I think the last one I said was micro interactions. Micro interactions are small, subtle interactions that are designed to accomplish a specific task or provide feedback to users. Now they can be as simple as a button changing color when hovered over. When you hover on a button, and it changes color, or as complex as animated loading indicator. So micro interactions add a kind of layer of interactivity and delight to the user experience, making it more engaging and satisfying. So when designing interactions, UI UX designers consider factors such as usability, learnability, efficiency, and user expectations. So they aim to create interactions that are intuitive, consistent, and aligned with the goal of the user and overall purpose of the product. So prototyping tools uh, and software are often used to simulate and test interactions before implementing them in the final product. So this allow designers to refine and iterate on the user experience. Then another concept I made mention of is annotation. Annotation. Uh, annotation. Annotation in the context of UI UX design, refer to kind of additional information or explanatory notes that designer had to their design sketches, wireframes, or prototypes. Annotation provide context, clarification, and detailed or details about specific elements or functionalities of the design, making it easier for others to understand the intended design decisions and interactions. Then there are some also there are some key aspects that is related to annotations in UI UX design. Those key aspects are what something like descriptive information, we have specifications and measurements, we have interaction details, we have design rationale, we have collaboration and feedback as well. So annotations, let me also explain this. Annotations often include descriptive information that helps communicate the purpose and functionalities of a particular UI element or component. This can include labels, titles, captions, or explanations that provide a clear understanding of what the element represents or how it should be used. Secondly, which was the specifications and measurement I mentioned. Annotations can also include specifications and measurement that can define the size, spacing, alignment, or other dimensions of UI elements. These details are particularly important for developers who will be implementing the designs, as they need precise information to ensure accurate execution. The third one is interaction details. Annotation can describe the intended interactions and behavior of UI elements. For example, they can explain how a button should respond when clicked, or how a drop-down menu should open and close. So interaction details help designers to and developers to align. Developers work in line with what designers. They do the designing, and developers what do the coding. So it helps them to align their understanding of the expected UX, that is user experience. So I think the fourth one, design rationale. Annotation can provide insights into design decisions behind certain elements or layout. Designer may include notes explaining a kind of note explaining why a particular choice was made, you know, what problem it solves, how it contributes to the overall user experience, you know. So this helps stakeholders and collaborators understand the design thinking, and provides valuable context during design reviews or handoffs. Handoffs is okay, you're through with the project, you're handing over to, you know, to the client. So then the last one which I made mention of was collaboration and feedback. Annotation serve as a means of communication and collaboration uh, between designers, stakeholders, and developers. Designers can use annotation to request feedbacks, highlight specific areas for discussion, or ask questions about certain design aspects. You see, so this facilitates a kind of more efficient and effective feedback, a kind of efficient and effective feedback loop, and promote a kind of shared understanding of the design. You understand? So annotation can be added directly on the design document, or in a kind of separate document alongside the visual representation. So they can be represented through text boxes, call out arrows, or other visual cues that indicate associated informations. So the format and style of annotations can vary depending on the designer's preference or the specific design tools being used. So clear and concise annotations are crucial for ensuring that the design intent is effectively communicated and understood by all stakeholders involved in the design and development process. Then I made mention of a term, which is this number two here, which is wireframe. You understand? What is wireframe? Of course, wireframe, if you have to talk, explain what wireframe is in the context of UI UX design, it refers to the process of creating a kind of low fidelity visual representation of a digital product user interface. Wireframe and skeletal outlines, it kind of you're creating a skeletal outlines that capture the basic structure, layout, and content hierarchy of a user interface without getting into specific visual details or branding elements. Um, of course, it also has some key aspect that is related to uh, it has some related key aspect in UI UX design. Here we have to talk about the structure and layout. You understand the functionality and user flow. You have to talk about the content representation. You have to talk about the low fidelity representation. You have to talk about the collaboration and feedback. you know so let me explain them one after the other. The structure and layout. The structure and layout, wireframe focus on defining the overall structure and layout of a user interface. They outline the placement of key elements such as navigation menus, you know content sections, buttons, forms, and other interactive components. Wireframe help establish the basic information, architecture, and spatial organization of the interface. Functionalities and user flow. Wireframe helps designer plan and map out the user flow and interactions within the what interface. So they illustrate how user will navigate between screens, um, complete tasks, and interact with different elements. You understand? So wireframe provides a visual representation of the intended user experience without distracting visual design elements. Then the third one I made mention of is was content representation. Wireframe provides a framework for presenting and organizing content within the interface. They indicate the general type of content such as text, images, or videos that will be included in section or pages or in section or page. This helps designers and stakeholders understand how the content will be structured and how users will interact with it. Then the first one, there is the low fidelity representation. What are low fidelity representation? Wireframes are intentionally kept low fidelity to focus on the overall structure and functionality. You understand? Rather than detailed visual design. They typically use simple grayscale or monochromatic representation of UI elements such as boxes, lines, and placeholder text. This allows designers to iterate quickly and gather feedback without being distracted by visual aesthetics. Then the fifth one is the collaboration and feedback. Wireframe serves as a communication tool for designers and stakeholders and development teams. So they facilitate discussions and feedback early in the they facilitate discussions and feedback early in the design process, enabling stakeholders to provide input and make suggestions regarding the layout, content, and user flow. Wireframes are often used to they are used to validate kind of design decisions, that is before moving on to more detailed design stages. Wireframe can be created using you can create the wireframe using tools like it can be both digital and analog tools. So digital tools such as Sketch, Adobe XD, Figma, uh, Balsamic, they offer some kind of pre-built UI element and template that makes the wireframing process more efficient. But in our course, we are going to be restricting ourselves to um, using Figma, which is the modern tools as of today. So analog method like pen and paper, of course, which is very accessible to you, or whiteboard sketches are also commonly used for quick and iterative wireframe ideation. Sure, understand. So it is important to know that wireframe are not the final design deliverables such as or deliverables, but serve as foundation for further refinement and development. So once wireframe are validated and approved, designers can now proceed to the next stage of design process, such as prototyping and, of course, visual design. Then another thing I made mention of is sketching process. What is sketching process? Sketching process in UI UX involve the following steps. First, you have to define your goals and requirements. Goal definition and requirement. You know, then second, you have to do your research and inspiration. Then the third one is ideation and concept generation. Then then iterate and refine, which I have even talked about before, but I don't mind throwing a recap on it. Then uh, detail and annotations, text and validate, digital conversion, and what have you. So let me start with the define goals and requirements. This starts by understanding the project goal, user needs, and any specific requirement or constraint. You know, it clarifies the purpose of the design and identify the key elements that needs to be what addressed in the sketching process. Research and inspiration. This conducts research to gather inspiration and gain a better understanding of the content of the sorry. Uh, okay, should I say no? Let me say target audience, industry trends, and best practices. It explores existing UI UX designs, competitor products, and relevant resources to spark ideas and generate what insight. Ideation and concept generation begins the sketching process by brainstorming and generating a range of design concepts. So use pen and paper or digital tablet and stylus to sketch out different layout options, content arrangement, and what interaction ideas. So you focus on exploring a variety of possibilities without being overly concerned about details at this stage. So the iterate and refine uh, reviews and iterate on the to review and iterate on the initial sketches to refine and improve the design concept. It also seek feedback from team members, stakeholders, or potential users to gain different perspective and insight. So it also iterate on the sketches based on the received feedback, so making necessary adjustment and what enhancement. So the layout and composition, what they do rather, what layout and composition do is to pay attention to the overall layout and composition of the design. Then consider factor like say visual hierarchy, grouping related elements, alignment, and spacing. So it also ensures that the sketch effectively communicate the flow and structure of the interface, emphasizing the key elements and their what relationships. Then the detailing and annotation. What they do is they add necessary details and annotations to sketches and include labels, explanatory notes, and callouts to clarify the purpose or functionalities of specific elements. Annotations help ensure. Remember, I said something about annotations, and if you can remember, I said something like that it help ensure that the design intent is effectively communicated to others who will be reviewing or working with the sketches. So then I made mention of text and validate. What they do is to use the sketches to conduct usability tests or gather feedback from users. Also observe how users interact with the sketches and take note of any usability issues or areas for improvement. The insight gained from testing can inform subsequent iterations and refinement of the word design concept. Then digital conversion. Once the sketches are validated and refined, they can be translated into digital format using design software. Wireframing or prototyping can also be used to create more detailed digital representation of the sketch, allowing for further exploration and refinement of the word design. So, throughout the sketching process, it is important to maintain a balance between exploring um, creative ideas, ensuring the design aligns with the project designs, user needs, the sketches, user project goals and user needs. So the sketches serve as a foundation for the kind of subsequent design stages, guiding the development of wireframe, prototypes, and final visual design. So um, you see that from my explanation so far, the ideas, that is the ideation and wireframing, is just like they work pari passu. You understand? So, like I said, there are sketching process. What are what kind of sketching process do we have? We have something like, of course, you always be prepared. Prepare your tools like pens, paper, even your tablet. Understand the goals. That is what I explained before now. You know, that is what the project is all about. Try to understand what the project is all about. Understand your audience. You know, understand what the requirement is. You understand what your user wants and focus on sketching for a particular goal. You know, time yourself. Always time yourself. So be merciful, but keep to time. Always try to work within time frames stipulated or necessary timing to achieve the project goal. So another step to also consider is draw a frame for your device. You know, this talks about the let me show you some of the devices that you can draw a frame for your device. You know, um, this talks about the frame needed at a particular point in time. Is it a web app or a mobile app? You know, always make a rough sketch of some of the design you are going to be seeing. Some of the design you are going to be seeing, just a rough sketch. You don't need to be so accurate with your design. Next is to go into detail of your interactive of how interactive the app is. So the interactions, you could consider the interactions. Look at here, you have the gadget, you have the header, you have the news, my stuff, this that. So this is just showing the interactivity of the app. you know so I think the next class will be more of sketching in proper, practical sketching. So I just need to give an overview of what sketching is, because this is an introduction to sketching. We've not gone deeper into sketching. Of course, we are going to go deeper into sketching and see what we can uh, and see how the kind of idea we can generate from sketching. You understand? Or we can sketch out. You understand? So I appreciate your patience on this lecture, particular lecture. Yes, that's taking so much time, but of course, this time is gonna be consistent. So I will show consistency this time. I'm sorry. If you are just watching this, there are previous videos or lectures before this. Please watch them, and of course, you can share this video, like the video, and of course, feel free to subscribe to our channel and stuff. So, if there's anything that is somewhat not clear, please, of course, you can write to me on Telegram or Discord, so as for me to put more clarity on that. Then I'm going to design a note and put on the system, so that you can that is on our this system, so that you can have it. I'll send you the note. You get the note of everything and all the explanation I give. So I'm going to write a concise, or a concise note on everything. So, that is on the introduction of sketching. So that you can review, and of course at your own time, it helps you to take note and of course read over it and stuff. So thank you very much and God bless.